There is no denying that the oceans, lakes, and other water bodies of the world are all teeming with life. These underwater worlds are home to some of the most intriguing creatures on the planet, and the possibilities of what can be found there are endless. One such fascinating creature is the piranha of South America. That's right, the dreaded biters of the South American continent have a nasty reputation, especially if Hollywood is your primary source of information. Hollywood or Teddy Roosevelt's travel tales. Roosevelt was more popularly known as the 26th President of the U.S., but he was also an unofficial adventurer with a love for nature. In his bestseller, Through the Brazilian Wilderness, he narrates his experience in Brazil, and in his story, he talks about ferocious, flesh-eating fish that are the biggest predators of South American aquatic life. He was talking about piranhas. He described them as the most ferocious fish in the world, known for hunting species much larger than themselves. His book read, "They will snap a finger off a hand incautiously trailed in the water. They mutilate swimmers. In every river town in Paraguay there are men who have been thus mutilated. They will rend and devour alive any wounded man or beast, for blood in the water excites them to madness." Roosevelt's illustration of the piranhas was like an announcement of doomsday. Therefore, everyone who read the book was shaken to their bones. As if that was not enough, a few decades later, Hollywood went on to paint a more vivid description of the abilities of piranhas. The piranhas were first portrayed in the 1978 film Piranha, where a school of piranhas escaped a military experiment and turned the entire lake red with the blood of unsuspecting swimmers. This unpleasant reputation was reinforced by the 2010 remake of the movie, where a pack of tiny piranhas feasted on humans with their sharp, jagged teeth. Did you get chills? I know I did. For these reasons, many of you have thought twice about visiting lakes across South America, and those who visited must have done thorough research to ensure they won't be swimming in piranha territory. Since Roosevelt, very few people have mustered up the courage to venture into piranha territory. In 2007, however, Martin Strel, a Slovenian endurance athlete, set out for the Amazon River to see the piranhas for himself, as well as other creatures that live in the infamous river. After swimming the entire length of the Amazon for 65 days, that is from Peru to Brazil's Atlantic coast, Mr. Strel set an impressive record and became the first person to swim across the Amazon. After emerging victorious from the challenge, supporters from all over the world rallied around him to hear the tales of his experience. Mr. Strel spoke about how he bravely encountered several dangerous species, one of them being the flesh-eating piranhas. In fact, the piranhas single-handedly made this the toughest challenge the endurance athlete had taken on. Before entering piranha territory, Mr. Strel coated his swimsuit with petrol and cream to deter the fish. On top of that, his team would throw blood and meat into the river to distract the piranhas while he swam through unharmed. Despite all the efforts to keep the piranhas at bay, Strel still ran into thousands of them. "There are thousands of them," he said. "Often you find them closer to the shore. If you are bleeding or you have an open wound, they will catch you right away." Each one of these daring piranha encounters paints these animals in a dangerous light. But are these animals the flesh-eating monsters they've been made out to be? Piranhas are found across the South American continent, so whether you travel to Argentina, Colombia, or Brazil, you're sure to come across them. However, the Brazilian Amazon has a more diverse variation of the species. Say what you want about tourists and their curiosity, but they're not likely to go naked in a river or lake swarming with flesh-eating fish. Several tourists travel to South America hoping to watch piranhas tear apart flesh and turn water red, all from a safe distance. Still, most have discovered that these fish may have been inaccurately described by Roosevelt or good old Hollywood. Some of them even find that it's safe to swim in water bodies where these piranhas live. So when it comes to piranhas, what are the facts? What is accurate and what is false? Let's begin with what is true. The truth is, hearsay or not, piranhas don't exactly look like the warmest creatures on the planet, so it is believable even when they're called the devil. Piranhas belong to a class of fish called osteichthyes, meaning their skeletons are made up of bones. They belong to the order Carassiformes because of their ray fins. They belong to a family of fish called Cerassalmidae, And other popular members of this family include tambaqui, akapaku, and silver dollar fish. Piranhas have razor-sharp triangular teeth with strong jaws, which means they can cause a lot of damage to anything they bite into. But what do they feed on, you might ask? Piranhas are omnivores. This means that they feed on both plants and animals. It all depends on the specific species of piranha and the season. Most of them typically feed on other aquatic animals like crustaceans, that is, shrimp, prawns, and so on. They also feed on worms, other aquatic invertebrates, seeds, plant matter, and even fruits. On a few occasions, however, some piranhas have been found with bigger animals like birds, snakes, and small mammals in their stomachs. This confirms Roosevelt's story about how these fish can devour anything in their line of sight, but this account is severely exaggerated. The truth remains that most piranhas feed on small animals or aquatic plants. So in a real sense, piranhas aren't all that dangerous, but don't be relieved just yet. When the water levels fall in the dry season, piranhas can get stuck in stagnant water for weeks. During this time, they eat everything they can in the water and eventually run out of food. When that happens, they get desperate and therefore can and will eat whatever enters the water. So you might want to steer clear of South American lakes during the dry season. You should also stay away from piranhas if you're badly hurt, because they're known to attack bigger animals that are gravely injured or dying. Research has shown that heart attack or epilepsy victims who drowned in a couple of South American rivers bore marks of piranha nibbles all over them when their remains were extracted. In other words, the belief that piranhas can shred a human apart is an exaggerated lie, but it doesn't mean that piranhas have not attacked humans in the past. However, they typically only attack dead or dying humans. Besides their hideous dentition, piranhas have a couple of other fearsome characteristics, including their sound. A particular species of piranha, the red-bellied piranha, makes barking noises. Rather than the typical fish sounds, these piranhas emit growling sounds, thuds, and grunts, all sounds that tell their prey, "Hey, I'm coming for you." They also make these sounds when they've been captured by fishermen. Not very dignifying, but what kind of fish barks anyway? As fearsome as they are, piranhas are also really smart. They do not walk alone, but in packs. They're small creatures after all, and the point of running in packs is not to convey strength to their prey, it's to protect them from predators. Piranhas are usually hunted by big birds, river dolphins, and other large fish that feed on smaller fish. Research shows that the piranha packs are arranged so the younger fish are outside while older ones are on the inside. When an attack on a pack, the fish disperse and the younger ones are more at risk of getting eaten. This suggests that the reason for piranhas traveling in groups is fear and not to display strength. One thing piranhas don't mess with is their eggs. Therefore, this goes without saying, but messing with piranha eggs is a horrible, horrible idea. In general, provoking these fish will most likely not end well, especially during the dry season when they're already irritated. It is also advisable that before you go skinny dipping in piranha territory, you should contact a guide. They will provide you with some very useful tips and prevent you from triggering these ferocious, sharp-toothed creatures. While the rest of the world may consider piranhas life-threatening, people local to the Amazon River and its environs say something else when they hear of this dreaded animal. Food. Good food. Piranha hunting is a skill these people have mastered, them and their children, and tourists have been encouraged to try piranha fishing whenever they go visiting the area. Like regular fishing, seeking out piranhas from the river involves the use of a fishing rod and bait. This bait could be meat, smaller fish, and even worms. However, one can feel the force of a piranha's jaw when they chew on the bait and get themselves caught in the fisherman's trap. This experience is quite surreal and is a way to learn firsthand about the powerful chewing force of this species. Catching the piranha is only the first step to making the delicious piranha recipe. Next, the locals boil the fish along with some condiments or in a sauce, nothing too fancy. Otherwise, the fish is wrapped in foil or banana leaves, rubbed with spices, and placed over a grill. Amazon fishermen have tried to persuade tourists that piranha soup is an aphrodisiac, a love potion, if you will. That's definitely a subjective judgment, but once you get past all the bone, cooked piranhas have an interesting flavor. Piranhas are not necessarily friendly, but they don't have to be harmful if you don't go out of your way to trigger them. Many people will agree that this trait does not make them pet material, but several disagree. Some piranhas have found their way out of South America into North America, Asia, and even Europe, all because they attracted certain pet lovers. While it's not illegal to own a piranha in most of these places, people know better than to let them loose, thankfully. There are some species that are potentially dangerous to humans. These are Cerassalmus pariah, S. naturari, S. niger, S. rhambeus, and S. eigenmanni. These are the species responsible for the few accounts of piranhas attacking humans. For example, the 2011 attack on a drunk man in Bolivia, and the 5-year-old girl who was attacked by a pack of piranhas in 2012. It is accounts like these that have fueled a lousy publicity of piranhas. Countless brave tourists and indigenous South American people swim in lakes with piranhas, so it's safe to say that not all of them are out for blood. They may not look appealing, but piranhas are an intriguing species, no doubt. For millions of years, they've contributed to the rich diversity of the South American ecosystem. Their unique ability to defend and protect themselves is impossible to overlook, and is one reason why they fit so well in their ecosystem. Like most fish, piranhas taste great, whether grilled or cooked in soup. Piranha soup is quite the delicacy in the Pantanal region of Brazil and other Amazonian regions, and so is grilled piranha, which is served in banana leaves and garnished with sliced tomatoes and lime. At the end of the day, piranhas may be painted as monsters, but they are fish first. Let's not hyperfixate on the horrible, inaccurate rumors, and see them as just another group of interesting creatures on our giant blue planet.